to the 80sist, the podcast that uses your votes to determine the most totally 80s song ever to blare from those muddy speakers in that Boardman, Ohio Pizza Hut jukebox. Well, in Cleveland, I'm Keith Marsteller, and joining me from Seattle, it's the creator of the 80sist. He's my longtime friend, and tonight, he's also my co-host. It's Joe Walk. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Keith. So, listen, to let the listeners in on a little behind-the-scenes info on the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
You and I talked earlier today, and you said that you were going to be running around, and you weren't sure what you were going to do for dinner. So, I postmated a bit of Chinese food to you.
Yes, you did, and I really appreciate it. This hits the spot. I'm a big fan of these noodles.
I'm telling you, Keith, this is a great life. Sleep all day, podcast all night.
It is pretty great, Joe.
How are you enjoying those worms, Keith?
Worms? These are noodles, man.
Take another look, Keith.
Okay. These are noodles.
How about now?
Still noodles, Joe.
No, yeah, I'm fine, I'm good. Okay, hey, why don't you take a look at that container of rice?
Okay, yep, yeah, that looks like good rice, I guess, yeah.
But it's not rice, Keith. It's maggots.
It's rice, Joe. Here, have a look.
God damn it!
Are you okay, man?
No, yeah, I'm good. The egg roll. Look at the egg roll.
Okay, wow, that looks pretty greasy.
Really greasy, right?
Yeah, it's kind of gross. Wow, we
that just went on.
Taking this podcast to new heights, and
a little bit of audio theater.
I mean, Great acting on your part, but let's let the listeners in on the fact I don't eat Chinese food, but I pretended like I was enjoying it.
Yeah, no.
We really pulled one over on those guys.
That's right.
Oh,
it's
wow.
the magic of theater, Keith.
Well, that's a bit of fun, and for anyone who's seen The Lost Boys, they know the scene that you were parodying there, hopefully.
What, Lost Boys? That's in the Lost Boys?
That's right, because when I say, welcome back to the 80s, Joe.
Welcome back.
Hey, by the way, I'm talking about that, the really terrible bassy speakers in the Boardman, Ohio Pizza Hut. Do you know the Pizza Hut I'm talking about? Did you hang out there
I did not. I went to the Pizza Hut in Salem.
I thought maybe after Drama Club or something.
Yeah.
So you did the Pizza Hut. Okay. For whatever reason, I ended up in that Boardman Pizza Hut a lot. It had a really shitty, you'd play something and all you could hear was the bass line in it. It was boom, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought, I never asked specifically if you'd been to that one, and I was there enough to remember, don't even bother putting money in that jukebox. You're not going to hear the song. You're going to hear the bass line of the song.
The one in Salem, I want to say the jukebox was pretty okay, because I remember being in there and playing the Ghostbusters theme song. Stay with me here. Because my sister went and my cousins went to West Branch School. They played Salem, who were the Quakers.
Yeah.
And Salem lost to West Branch that night. And so we played Ghostbusters, but we sang Oats Busters.
Oh, wow, because the Salem
they
Quakers.
Were the Salem Quakers.
Wow, that's a lot of creativity in that.
No.
Wrapped up in that tiny prepubescent
the point
body.
is, the speakers were good.
Okay. Well, that's a nice digression to start the show. We wasted the first 5 minutes of everybody's lives. Welcome back to the 80sist.
I think people really care about Pizza Hut speakers, man.
Well, some of the folks listening went to school with us and might know that Boardman Pizza Hut that I'm talking about.
Maybe.
But anyway, I'll try this for the third time. Welcome back to the 80sist, everybody.
Welcome back.
There we go. Today in our 9th show on Side B, we're going to discuss the 7th matchup in the first round of the movies region. And so we're really making our way through this region, Joe. We're crushing this first round. And guess what? It is the Lost Boys show. It is number 7, I Still Believe, against number 10, Cry Little Sister. Now,
2 smash hit songs.
Well, we're going to find that out right now in the Tale of the Tape.
Fight! 2 songs enter. 1 song leaves.
It's the Tale of the Tape. He's out! You know, I had a listener mention this to me today. They're like, hey, I get it. You mean cassette tape. And I'm like, that's right. It's like boxing and cassettes at the same time. So
it works on many levels.
It works on so many levels. We're really advanced here. All right. And in this corner, we have the champion, in quotes, the favorite. And who is it, Joe?
Well, it's number 7, I Still Believe. It's from the Lost Boys soundtrack, and it's by one Tim Capello. You know him.
Yeah.
I Still Believe was not released as a single. It never charted in the Billboard Hot 100. It never came close.
Wow. It never even got a chance to, I guess, never being released.
No, it was stillborn.
Well,
that was dark. Sorry.
In this corner, number 10 seed, though, listen to this challenger, Cry Little Sister, is from the Lost Boys soundtrack. And it's by Gerald McMann. It was released as a single in 1987.
Oh!
But it also never charted on the Billboard Hot 100. So, not a great CV from either of these songs. And I looked back. This is our first matchup of 2 songs that didn't chart at all. And the Lost Boys soundtrack, I think I had false memories of it because to me it was a massive soundtrack. In my mind, it was big.
Well, I mean, an album can be massive but still not spawn singles.
Well, in my mind, it was like this huge big deal, but it only peaked at 15 on the album charts. I thought it was a number 1 album for a long time there in that summer of '87, but apparently not. I mean, it's a hit. It's number 15.
Yeah, okay, but the thing is, these are songs that were probably, I mean, your average John and Jane schmo. You remember the Schmoes?
Absolutely, yeah.
Brother and
down
sister,
on
they were a year behind me. Yeah. Anyway, they wouldn't have bought that's not an album they would have bought, but like with a certain kind of goth kind of edgier kid might have bought this soundtrack and eaten it up, but not enough of those people existed in '87 to put this on the Hot 100 albums.
Yeah. Right, okay. Well, that's something we should throw in here. I guess we would, or when we talk about liking it, but we should throw in whether or not we owned these things. Did you own this soundtrack?
No.
Okay. At some point, a friend of ours, Mike Barnes, gave me the cassette. So I didn't buy the soundtrack, but I had the soundtrack.
Okay.
FYI. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's your Tale of the Tape. I guess it's time to listen to a little bit of this stuff.
All right.
Maybe some of you have never heard these songs since they weren't hits. Like, for instance, our international listeners, Pete and Alejandro, they may have never heard these. It depends on whether they might know them from the movie, though. It's possible. Right. But here's the slight favorite, 7 seed, I Still Believe. Oh, yeah. Oh, talk to me, Tim. Give it to me. Yes!
Somebody put that poor elephant out of its misery.
40 days, only a spark to light my way. Wanna give out, wanna give in. This is our crime, this is our sin. But I still believe through the pain, through the grief, through the light. Storms, through the cries, through the wars, oh, I still believe. Still believe.
All right, that's a little bit of I Still Believe.
Keith, let me ask you something. Do you think he still believes?
I'm getting that impression. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it's
He
coming
needs
across.
to be a little clearer about that, I think.
All right, and now here's a little Cry Little Sister.
Well, that is a whole mood.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Woo, so those are the back-to-back songs, both from Lost Boys soundtrack. And now it's time to find out why they're here. Joe, did you think the assignment was 1880s?
It's too blind.
Keith, I have to seriously question your level of taste here.
All right. Ooh. Joe, who's responsible for 7 Seed, I Still Believe?
Well, here it goes. I Still Believe by Tim Capello has 100 points because I ranked it 50 and you ranked it 50.
Oh my God, we agree on something.
Responsible.
We agreed on something, and it was
That's right.
That this song was the 50th most 80s song. And so, yeah, there you go. We said there were a couple of these. This is one of those.
Wow.
Where we are equally responsible. So, 10 Seed, Cry Little Sister. Well, it's got 93 points.
Okay.
So it has a lower score, which is better, but I think we seeded the other one higher because of our agreement on it. Whereas this one, you had 28 points, and I unranked it for 65, adding up to those 93. So this one is all Joe in terms of why it's here.
That's right.
And so there you go. I'm not going to disparage this one being here like I would say, I don't know, Lady in Red or Aiko.
Yeah. We all know how you feel.
Yeah. We'll leave this one alone for sure. And now I'm going to ask you.
Yes.
Do you like I Still Believe?
I do not.
Excellent.
I do not like that song.
Oh, that's awesome. Glad to hear it.
Yeah. How about you?
Dude, I kind of ironically like I Still Believe. A few years ago, I was making a playlist for running, a comeback playlist, because I keep coming back from all these various surgeries, and I want something to... And almost as a joke, I made this playlist of 80s training montage songs.
Almost as a joke.
Almost. It started as a joke, but now I listen to it and it works. Like it pumps you up anyway, even though you're like laughing at the songs. So anyway, I run to this song, and so now I guess I like it. I don't know what to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. What about Cry Little Sister? How do you feel about that one?
It's okay. Other than the show prep I've done in the past couple days, I've never actually listened to the song outside the film, but I agree with you that it's a huge mood setter. How do you feel about it?
I feel about the same. I, again, did not listen to this song outside of the film, but this one kind of stayed with me from the film.
Yeah. I can see why, as we'll discuss when we get to it, because of when it's used in the film and all that.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess it's time to begin the cases for each song, and we'll start with the favorite, I Still Believe. And we love to get to know our artists a little bit. And, Tim Capello has no other songs to his name.
Right.
But this song that he does have to his name isn't even his song. It's actually a cover version of a song by the band The Call. And in Tim's defense, I think he improved on it.
This is all sin, but I still believe. I still believe through the pain and through the grief.
Oh, yeah, no.
Through the lies.
This is just kind of a whiny version.
And so, Tim's is actually a little better, maybe.
Yeah. I will give you that, absolutely.
The only other place I can find that we can listen to Tim Capello is he was a saxophonist for Tina Turner.
Nice.
And in the We Don't Need Another Hero from Mad Max. Thunderdome, I think. He has a sax solo around the 3-minute mark here. That's all Capello right there, baby.
You can kind of picture him in the blasted wasteland, shirtless, playing the sax.
All right, so anyway, that's Tim Capello's other work, I guess. He's a saxophonist. I mean,
Yeah. Well, all right. So to be fair, it's not like he was just a session musician. He did do a lot of work with a lot of different artists in the 80s, but he had his own band they were called the Ken Dolls.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You're not going to find recordings of them because I don't even know if they ever got a record deal, but they had a band called the Ken Dolls, and he was during his time with that band, was known for performing in a G-string. Because that was the selling point.
That is hilarious. Well, I gotta say, I pulled this quote about him, and it's almost as though someone wrote this in Wikipedia just for you. Okay. And the quote is, Tim Capello is notable for his muscular physique, his sexually provocative movements during performances, and for a tendency to perform shirtless with oiled skin and a ponytail. End quote.
By God.
I thought, did you edit Wikipedia in the past few days too?
I did not. But let's be clear. That's why he's in this.
Yeah.
The song itself, I'm not, but it's the moment in the movie. It's the scene where he's performing, on the stage, and he's oiled up, and he's shirtless, and he's like flipping his crotch all over the place.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, I didn't even know his name until we started putting this bracket together. I just referred to him as
But you knew
the sax guy.
The oily saxophone guy.
The sax guy, yeah.
And I assumed when I watched the thing for the first time that he would end up being a vampire, but he just...
No.
And I always, like, you know, I've seen the movie a few times, but I always call him, like, vampire saxophone player. And then I realized, well, he isn't a vampire. He just looks like he's going to end up as... then he isn't.
Right. The vampires were afraid of his oil and his sax. It's very intimidating to vampires.
Right. Like, if it's the right kind of oil, it could, like garlic-infused oil or something. You
there you
really,
go. Hey, I do have a toid here.
Oh, well, by all means, let me fire one off. Hit me.
So... You played some Tina Turner.
Yeah.
We said he performed with her.
Yeah.
He toured with her, and the cod piece that I believe the very one he was wearing in Lost Boys was given to him by Miss Tina Turner.
No way! Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe because like his G-string was loose or something, and she's like, "This
he needs more. He needs more coverage."
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's put a cod piece around that.
Maybe
thing.
it was a leftover prop from Mad Max.
Could be,
possibly.
Could be.
Oh wow!
Maybe it was a cod piece worn by Mel Gibson. Who knows?
That is an impressive toy. Let me just say, that's awesome. So regarding the song itself.
Yes.
I mean, that sax is so 80s, the sax he's playing. You know.
Yes. Well, let me ask you this. Do we like that sax sound? Because it sounds to me like the sax is farting, basically. Do we like a farting sax?
I don't hear it as farting, but it is...
Okay.
It is pretty wildly shrill in some points.
It is.
And... It does have that, there's like that sparkly synth riff. Ding, 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 you know, going all the way through it as well. So he's got synth, he's got sax, and he's got that incredibly overwrought, like, dramatic performance going with, I still believe, you know, like.
Yeah.
Very much. So there's a lot of 80s-ness to the song from where I'm hearing it. What do you think?
Agreed.
You agree with that? Yeah.
I do. You know, the overwrougtness of the song itself, and then, but really, it's for me, it's the iconic use of him in that movie that makes this like a definite 80s moment.
It's that moment in the film, that moment in time, the confluence of this super 80s film and his appearance and the song all kind of melted together.
Right. And again, we said, you know, this was not released as a single. There's no official video for this song. You look for an official video for this song, it's just like
there isn't
either fan videos or
videos
live
and
performances. Yeah. Because it's not it's not, you know, it's not a single. And yet Tim Capello in that scene is so iconic. He's got his own Funko Pop.
Does he really?
He does.
I didn't know that.
There is a Lost Boys sax guy Funko Pop.
I'm going to go ahead and credit you with a toy for that. Yeah, you deserve it.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
That's hot.
Yeah, I don't own it.
No,
but if I were to own any Funko Pop,
it would be that one.
Might be that one. Yeah.
The other thing that makes it 80s for me is, and I kind of alluded to this in that I put it in my training montage mix. Mm-hmm. It has like earmarks of a montage song and like lyrically and in presentation, like, you know, I've been in a cave of 40 days, you know, and it's all like this suffering that he's going through, want to give out, want to give in.
Yeah.
But I still believe, right? Through the pain, through the grief, through the lies, through the storms, whatever else the next lyrics are, I've lost track. But I still believe, right? And it's very training montage. Like, even though I know it is not used in a training montage, like, you know, like the one in Rad, Thunder in Your Heart, for instance. but it gives me that same vibe, listening to it. So
Absolutely. I mean, I will say I don't think this is. So it's not a great song. I think
that's a fair statement.
I
Yeah.
think Tim Capello has a better voice than like Patrick Swayze, right?
Yeah.
But
for a guy who's not even noted as a vocalist. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, he's still not great.
No. Okay.
And I mean, he's acted. He's had like bit parts in a whole bunch of stuff. If you look up his IMDb page
for
there's a
his
lot on there.
muscular
and
count,
actually one thing I saw on Wikipedia, and I have no context for this, but it said that he studied with Billy Crystal.
What?
And I'm like, the fuck did he study?
What did he study with Billy Crystal?
Was Billy Crystal like oiling him up somehow?
I
don't get
that is
what
wild.
he would have studied.
Huh.
Yeah, but I mean, so he got some acting background.
Interesting.
But I think we would both agree this is not like an actor singing kind of case.
I think it's people got to know him, and then once you know Tim Capello, you're like, oh, I need a oily, strong guy to be in my movie. Let's call Tim Capello.
Yeah.
And that's...
I mean, I'm sure he was probably not doing like, Shakespearean sonnets in these films.
Almost certainly not, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so I've got a needle drop.
Okay.
And my note is saxophone cat killing. I think it's coming up I think it was that part. So that's my saxophone cat killing drop there.
That just sounds like an asthmatic sax to me.
Saxmatic.
Yeah.
Only other note I have on this guy is, hey, you know me and I love definite endings instead of fade outs.
Oh, there you go.
Ends.
There you go.
Solid. All right, that's what I've got. You got anything else for I Still Believe?
I don't. But I think to recap, we would say that what's 80s about this is the sax.
Yeah. There is synth in there. Yeah, which I like.
Yep. The overwroughtness.
For sure.
And then the iconography of the oily sax player on the stage. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. He doesn't bring... Like some folks bring an 80s star power with them, like Billy Ocean. He doesn't do that, right?
No,
so
he's
have
not a star. He's the oily sax guy.
We take him as face value, and that's what we've got for this one. So all right. So we'll move down to Cry Little Sister, and
all right.
Again, this is Gerald McMann. And strangely, he spells his name is spelled McMahon, M-A-H-O-N in real life.
Yeah.
But then when he's a musician, he goes by the pseudonym in quotes McMann, M-E-C-M-A-N-N, even though they're pronounced the same.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I would imagine he was tired of people who didn't know how to pronounce that, and they would say McMahon.
McMahon, and so he'd fuck it, McMahon.
That's McMahon.
It's McMahon. So anyway, he's Gerald McMann, however you want to, but he's spelled like Ed McMahon on his driver's license. On your album, it's spelled like McMahon, like some kind of cannibalistic McDonald's dish or something. I'll have the McMahon with cheese. Anyway, so we know if you go to Spotify, Cry Little Sister has 23.3 million listens.
Good God.
His second most listened to song, which at least he has one, is called Ain't Too Many More Like You. And it has 44,000 listens.
I can hear why.
And let me just jump into some lyrics. Yeah, no. All right, so there you go. That's a little more of what Gerald McMann can do when you give him his own canvas to do anything he wants.
Yeah.
And you don't paint him into a vampiric corner.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Cry Little Sister, he did not, I don't even think, because he was commissioned by Joel Schumacher.
That's right.
To write this song, and I don't think he knew it was about vampires.
He did not know much. He had not seen a single frame of the movie. I think he might have known the mood he was going for, but he didn't know what was happening in the movie, for sure.
Yeah, because he didn't make it, it's not explicitly about vampires. It's just real vampiric.
It's got a gothic kind of sound to it. That
Can we say that this song maybe is too goth?
It's possible. That you could say. Here is a funny. I guess we could call this a toid. Since you were talking about Schumacher, I had this little toid. You might have read this as well, but the record company went to Joel Schumacher and was like, "This thing sounds too futuristic. It's not going to be popular. It's not like what's on the radio right now," which is true.
That's true.
And so the record company had Phil Collins and Steve Perry, each of those two 80s superstars, record versions of this song.
Wow.
And director Joel Schumacher said, "Fuck you, I'm sticking with this unknown Gerald McMann for my movie," because he liked what Gerald had done when he sent him off to do it. Which I dig.
Joel.
I dig the principle of that, but
yeah,
I think it probably could have been a hit with Phil Collins singing it. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know what that would have sounded like.
Think of it. Conjure up his "In the Air Tonight" singing kind of sound.
All right, I can see that. I guess.
Yeah, he'd go with super high. You know what's interesting about this? For a song that was never a hit, I find like 20 covers of this song.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal with it is, but there's like a heavy metal cover by a band called Seasons After.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's a Marilyn Manson cover of it.
Of course.
And I gotta say, so far, Gerald's is better.
Absolutely. But I mean, you can see, 14-year-old proto-metalheads or proto-goths, glomming onto this movie, right?
For sure, yeah.
And that song, again, it sticks in your head. And it would have made a big impression on those
It has
kids.
A giant presence that a lot of pop songs don't have, right?
Right.
Then there's this weird, like a Netflix film recently, I guess. The band Churches took a crack at it from something called Night Books, and and then finally, I mean, think what you will about that one, but I found the definitive worst cover of it by hair metal band LA Guns. They did a Cry Little Sister. It's like, I don't even think he knows how to sing, let alone play. It's not good. It's really bad. No. I listened to the whole thing. It's pretty bad. Anyway,
that was very unimpressive.
So those are the covers, and we've said it sounds a little too futuristic for the record company. Okay. They released it. It bombed. So they may have been right.
Maybe. Except maybe the pop charts is not where this was destined to be.
Maybe not, yeah. but it is still, I guess you would say, maybe a cult classic. I will be interested to hear what people have to say about it, what their thoughts and memories of this song are, if they know it, if they remember it.
I think a lot of people who listen to our podcast would definitely know this song.
I think so. Now, what makes this song 80s to you, Joe? What you want to give me since this one, you're 100% responsible for being on the show, I'd like to hear your perspective before I go through my laundry list of stuff.
All right, well, first off, it's real synthy. It's got
for sure.
Loads of synth in there. And then the kids' chorus, right? The kids' chorus doing
creepy.
the thou shalt not various things. That lends this overly serious air to it. This melodrama.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Really, really reeks of the 80s to me.
I read a little bit about the kids' chorus thing.
Yeah.
McMann was he wanted a specific sound because it was in his head already.
Uh-huh.
And so he got 60 kids. And instead of just recording them, he took each kid in a booth by him or herself and had them sing. And then he mixed it together till he got it to sound the way he wanted it to sound.
Wow.
Till he found those pitches and voices that from the kids that sounded the way his head sounded, I guess.
Oh, my God.
So
that's a lot of work, man.
That's a ton of work, especially. Yeah. That's a ton of work right now in digital stuff. Back then, it was tape.
Yeah.
And so you had to take all of these tapes and do all this dubbing. And the limit of the technology at the time, the biggest I ever saw working in radio stations was a 24-track.
Wow.
And that's the most I ever saw. Most places had a 12 or 6. I'm sure a professional recording guy would have the 24. But even still, distilling those voices and you mix these 10 and these 10 together, and then you put them to... Anyway, it took a long time to do, I'm sure. It's insane. The voice processing on this is very 80s to me. Like, he's got a thing on his voice that makes him sound a little bit like Ozzy Osbourne to me. Like, this...
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of got that. If I jumped right back over to it, where'd it go?
House will rock. Blind boys don't lie.
But anyway, so, but he's got some cool voice processing on him. It's like super reverby, and I think he might even have like a little pitch bendy thing in it. It sounds pretty cool. Like, he got a good effect out of it.
I agree.
Yeah.
One thing is that there is, unlike I Still Believe, there is an official video for this song, but the official video was for a re-release in like 2003.
Okay, this is the bullshit that you sent to me like earlier tonight, right? And I'm looking at it, and the guy's like 60-some years old.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is not from 1987, bro.
No, it's this older dude.
I think it's the guy, right? It's McMann.
I believe it is. Yeah. In like goth clothing. And at one point, he's trying to make it look like he's a vampire jumping into the sky and turning into a bat. But it just looks like he's having a really hard time jumping.
Yes. Well, I'm sure he is. As we age, those things get tougher. Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure. And then he's got like there's a woman in the video who kind of looks like an actress.
Much younger than I'm like, Gerald.
Yeah.
Come on. Age-appropriate partner, please.
So, yeah, that... I can't really make an 80s declaration on the video.
No, not at all.
It was far too high definition to be...
Yeah.
They do. There is some stuff going on with the drums that I like. It's something I pointed out back on In the Air tonight, but it's got like this cool gated drumming. So like you get the full strike, but then it cuts off.
Right.
It closes the gate, and you don't get to hear the full reverberation of the drums in
Right.
some of the parts, which gives it that kind of darker feel to it, I guess, which is what Phil was going for on In the Air Tonight,
Right.
You get too much and it gets too bright,
Right.
and so he did a good job of
somewhat.
Yeah, so he mutes it and keeps it a little darker and less bright with that. It's kind of a subtle thing, but I noticed it, and it makes it a little more cool 80s tech thing for me to enjoy. So
one thing that I like about this, one little bit that I like about it, that's not, I mean, it's not terribly 80s because it's an organ, but it like 239. I believe it's on. Hopefully it's on where your version is. But there's an organ solo that
yeah,
I love.
Yes, I can see why. Yeah, that's hot, man. That's very Bach toccata and fugues in D minor-ish, or whatever that piece was called.
Yeah.
It's got that awesome feeling.
Yeah.
And it also kind of evokes
got that haunted theater feel.
Yeah, and that, they had that whole midway thing going on.
Right.
In the movie, kind of evokes that.
Yeah.
That is a pretty cool bit. I like it a lot, actually. Unfortunately, to me, that makes it a more timeless feel to it.
Absolutely.
Than the 80s,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It has like a more goth... It has 80s stuff in it that I mentioned already.
Right.
But overall, it feels like it has this more gothic and less dated, in the 80s anyway, feel than I still believe. But
because the producers were right. It's futuristic, but now the future is now.
That's right. Now, the thing about this that makes it, that gives it more 80s cred, though, is this is the song that plays in the film in probably a few places, but the one for sure that it plays that I still remember is when Kiefer Sutherland and Jason Patrick, David, and I forget, anyway, the character's name.
The other guy.
When they confront each other at the final duel, join us, you'll live forever, and you have my blood in you, and he says, I have mine too, or whatever.
Right.
And flings Kiefer onto some antlers or some shit, right?
Yep.
This is playing during that entire scene.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have very clear memories of the Thou Shalt Not kids chorus playing while we see him hanging there,
Impaled,
Kiefer
dying.
Sutherland hanging there, dying on the antlers. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely comes in with that super creepy, a different version than the recorded one we have here, but that super creepy one. Yeah. And I feel like there's at least theme and variation of this song in a couple other spots.
I agree.
Mood setting.
And I think because Joel Schumacher liked it so much that I think he weaved it into a couple other places.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I haven't watched that film in a little while. Maybe
same.
I've probably seen it more recently than you have, but maybe. I also wasn't watching it for the soundtrack at the time.
Yeah,
so,
no.
Yeah,
it's a good Scaretober movie.
Yeah, for sure. We should check it out together. Have a Netflix party. So, I think those are all the notes that I have on Cry Little Sister. I don't know. Do you have anything else?
One more thing.
All right, hit me.
So I copied this exactly from this article I read. It says, McMann has denied speculation that the song is about incest.
Oh, what? Hang on a second.
Stating in his Twitter account in January 2014, my song Cry Little Sister is in no way about incest. It's an artful way in which I created a sense of the vampire's search.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never considered that there was... I mean, yeah, okay, it says
Well,
little
it's like
sister.
your little sister, come to your brother, or your love belongs to your brother, or some weird thing like that.
Okay, yeah, come to your brother. Unchain me, sister. Maybe they thought they were into bondage as a brother-sister couple.
It
does
know.
say
It's
love.
not my accusation.
Love is with your brother. So
Right.
Okay. I mean, it's a stretch.
It's just, I mean, you know, have to really be going after poor Gerald.
Yes. He doesn't need it. He's already aging poorly.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, with that, I think our arguments have ended then.
I think they have.
And it is time to do verdicts. Well, the favorite today is a number 7, which is an odd number, which means that I will vote first today. So,
all right.
I can see a great case for either of these, but for me, the burden... Yeah, the vast majority of things for me goes to, I still believe Tim Capello is going to take my vote. It's just a little more 80s. This last song here, Cry Little Sister, might be a better song. Probably is a better song.
I think so.
A better mood setter, a better cinematographic song. But I feel like I still believe is more 80s. Joe?
Okay. This is one where I came in really having no idea which way I was going to go. And I got to say, the greased up sax player gets my vote.
Yeah, it's hard to get past that grease, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
Ah, man, well.
And I think the sax and the way he's singing,
It belongs inside the 80s, right? Like, again, when we try to keep in mind, like, we're showing an alien what the 80s is, and you pick one of these songs to give that alien to listen to.
I'm sorry. If an alien came down and said, hey, what was the 80s like? And we showed him the greased up sax player from Lost Boys, he would hop in his ship and go, all right, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, just keeping in mind, we're trying to distill the 80s down, and that's why... Even though I can find super 80s things about Cry Little Sister, it's just like a little game of one-upsmanship.
True, but I mean, there might be listeners who were those proto-goths, those proto-metalheads, and they might feel differently. And if they do, they should come to our Substack, which is the 80sist.substack.com. Jump on there, give us your thoughts. Vote for your choice.
Yeah, we have lively discussions there all the time. It's great fun.
That's right. You can also find us on Facebook. If you search for the 80sist podcast, we are there as well.
Yeah, for
we're
sure.
all greased up and we're playing our saxes.
If you're listening on your browser right now, good for you. But you could also subscribe to us on any of the podcast providers like Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, and of course, Spotify. Spotify is the home also of our region playlists, which will help you listen to songs back to back and determine which
back to back to back to back.
Or it's back to back times 8, 16 of them. So you can jump on and just search any podcast provider for the 80s Est, and you'll find us out there, and you could listen to us mobile.
That's
but like and subscribe us and, help us find some more audience. It'll help us keep going.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's all we've got for today's show, Joe, believe it or not. But join us next time on the 80s Est when we will look at the final matchup of this first round in the movies region. And that's going to be number 2 seed In Your Eyes versus number 15 seed, Glory of Love. I thought it was The Glory of Love. It isn't.
Oh, it's not?
Glory of Love. I double-checked it. Because there was another song in the past called The Glory of Love.
Oh.
So anywhere where you see that definite article, just, ignore it. All right.
Yep.
So anyway, until that matchup happens, until then, on behalf of Joe, this has been Keith saying, hey, wow, Joe, all this talk about vampires has got me thirsting for some human blood.
We have talked about this. You have to suppress that feeling and feed on something else, man. You can't keep doing this.
I don't know, man. I think it's providing a service. It's not hurting anyone to give them eternal life, is it? I mean, why do you think Mrs. Carter is still alive?
I guess that's not so bad. Wait, Mrs. Carter is not still alive? God damn it, do you have that vampire riz? You almost got me.
Yeah, I did.
Look, man, it's not cool, okay? Stop undeading people just because you're a little peckish.
Some more cereal then? I guess I still have half a box of Count Chocula.
It's a bit on the nose, but better than damning someone to eternal night.
All right, I'll go enjoy some of that.
Count Chocula cereal is coming your way. How about the monster for breakfast today? Scared stiff?
We're not scared, Count.
Then you'll enjoy my Count Chocula cereal. The cereal with loads of chocolatey marshmallows in every bowl. You can count them. It's part of this good, nutritious breakfast.
And don't forget Frankenberry.
I like him that way. How about the monster for breakfast today?